Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Hope everybody is doing fabulous. I'm doing great. It's quiet in my apartment, so I thought video time, and it's not even a Friday. Surprise, surprise. I just got done with the gym. I'm kind of sweaty, so excuse my matted hair. I'm so happy, like my hair's finally growing in over here from I had basal cell carcinoma. So technically a cancer survivor, although I don't really count it because it's not life threatening unless it goes like way, 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 which mine kind of did, which is why it was so bad. It was like a golf ball size. I've said this in my last videos, but it's been a while. But my hair is finally growing in over there. They said that in within 5 years that it would look like nothing had happened. So I'm almost there. I think it's been like 4, maybe somewhere around there. But um, I am sweaty, got done with the gym, did 3 miles. What up? I am so happy. I love to be distracted from my exercise and I love to be out in nature, but the energy is so aggressive right now. Like it just keeps getting worse. People are like big mad, big mad. You can try as hard as you want to knock me off my square, but you're not going to disturb my peace. I've fought too hard for it. I've come too far. And the person that you're trying to trigger with those things, they don't exist anymore. And truth be told, none of you ever really knew me anyway, because I wasn't feeling safe to be my true, authentic self around anyone but my children. So it is what it is. I am protected, I believe, wholeheartedly, because I am on mission and I am completely, utterly, humbly walking obediently with God. I am so connected to Source that it's not even funny. And I pray that all of you are too. I send you so much encouragement and inspiration to do what you need to dig deep to do, and it's not easy, but it's so worth it. My video today I wanted to do about be okay with not being liked. I've said this before, like kind of in passing on videos, but that is my main message today is stop giving any bit, any ounce of attention to anyone that doesn't like you. It's okay. It's okay. You were not sent here to be liked. You were sent here to be the light. I think that was God, I can't remember her name. She says God's favorite daughter. Source 444 something. There's something that comes before Source. I'll find it. Anyway, she is amazing, and she does readings, but she also channels messages. And it was so funny because the other day she was talking about someone who was being someone was trying to justify why they were doing something to someone or about to do something to someone. And she said, I'm hearing Adam. And I thought that was hilarious. And then yesterday I listened to a message because like I'm synced up and her videos are popping up now. So I just hit one on the way to the park, and she said something, I forget what she said leading up to it, but she said, I'm hearing Carrie. And I was like, whoa, stop it. Stop it. She also said she heard Sean, which means nothing to me. So, I'm just taking it as entertainment. It's just funny. She could be spot on with what she's hearing. And maybe it's just a coincidence, but you all know that I don't believe in coincidences. The only Sean that I really know is Midlife Stockman, which I love, 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 love. My short about him is like, the last I saw, over 5,000, right after I make the video about how my uncle having possibly burying things in his yard, being my most liked or viewed short, and now the Midlife Stockman thing is, and it has like over 90 likes, which is like crazy. I'm not a clout chaser. I did not mention him and the lawn care stuff in my videos other than just to talk about, use him as an example of how a real one showed up. How that all the OGs thought they were a real one and they were going to start cutting these corners just to get that check. And like people weren't going to notice when a real one showed up. And God sent a real one in And guess what? They can't compete where they don't compare. They can keep doing what they're doing all they want. But I promise you, Sean is like a national treasure at this point. But yeah, he's amazing. I love Midlife Mondays. I encourage you all to go check out Midlife Stockman. And the reason that other it's I was into lawn transformations as like ASMR because I used to do lawn work as a kid, and I didn't have much time when I owned my own home, but I still had to make time to do it so that my yard doesn't look crazy. But when I did, it was very therapeutic, and it's even therapeutic for me to watch it. So it's a way to calm and center and balance myself out on the internal. So I love watching that, but he came along, Midlife Stockman, the real one, the real deal, Holyfield, came along at a time where I was resonating with his authenticity, his hard work, how he wasn't cutting any corners. His heart is just huge, and you can tell like he was building this lady's stairs on his last video. Her stairs were about to fall apart, and she and her family members that had lived there had been hit by a semi. I know I'm getting off topic, but I'll get to it. I just wanted to explain about my short because it comes from a deeper place than just being like, oh, a real one showed up, or he's authentic. Like, I had been into these lawn care channels, these pressure washing channels, especially the ones in the UK, because that stonework there is old and beautiful. And when they pressure wash it, it's ASMR, but it looks fabulous, very satisfying. But Sean came along when the way he talks is just very, I want to say soothing, but it hits. It hits, okay? That's all I can say, to not be long-winded about it. It just hits right with me. And it was at a time where I had just quit my job. That was a very stressful, a lot of things were being thrown at me that were unnecessary. It was a long drive. My car is not like, it's reliable around town, but it's not reliable like a 45-minute drive to and from work every day in the 100-degree weather. But I just decided I wasn't going to be able to get an apartment by doing the hotel thing. It was just a rat race. I was going on the hamster wheel, and I wasn't going to be able to get an apartment before court to try and get a bedroom for my son before court, unless I just completely surrendered. And I did get a job at a convenience store while I was camping, but I made the decision to go camping, and I camped for 3 months. And that is when I really started watching Sean, Midlife Stockman, was when I started camping. And the weekends were really like hectic at the campground because that's when everybody wanted to camp. And I started camping in August, so it was still really hot. And then I was there through like I was there through these holidays. It was really rough. I was having to bounce around to different campsites and load everything up and set it back up, and then in between trying to work a job and not getting breaks at that job to go and move my stuff. Like, it was just, the weekends were stressful. I'm so glad that I made it through that. It was beautiful though, being there. Loved being by the water, loved all the animals and the sunsets. It will always have a special place in my heart, no matter how anybody wants to laugh or put it down. Camping was wonderful, wonderful. I can't imagine having done it with my child in tow, but there's a reason that I don't have him right now. And for me to walk that walk and get through that, and to make the jump from a campsite to a 2-bedroom apartment, even if I have no furniture in it except, my son's bed, 2 chairs, an air mattress, it's still a long way from where I came. And all glory be to God, because nothing would have gotten me here except that. That is the only reason that I have this roof over my head, these utilities on, food in my fridge, transportation, appliances, all these things that I'm so, so grateful for. There's no way that I would have it without God. So all glory goes to him. I will shout it from the mountaintops for as long as I live, that is, I am super locked in with with him, with Source, whatever you want to call it. So, but Sean was kind of like a safe haven for me when I was camping. It would come on Mondays after the hectic weekend, and it was just something that the park was calm, it was quiet. I could sit there Monday mornings with coffee and just relax and watch his videos, and it got me through a very rough time, because no matter how much fun I was having, I only expected to be there for 3 weeks. And after a while, it was like, this is longer than expected. But I tried to embrace it, and that was one of the ways that I was able to embrace it. So I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for everything. I will never take anything for granted again, and everything was put in my path for a reason. And just like camping may be embarrassing to some, or maybe a point where people can make fun of you and hate on you or trying to put you down for being there. Even my son was like, why are you camping? Because I know the things that had been said around him. I know all the things that have been said, but it didn't take away from the fact that I was doing that to gain traction. I was absolutely gaining no traction in hotel. The hotel would, be a great deal at the beginning, and then that first hotel was like, oh, you've stayed over the time, or this is booked tomorrow. They gave me 2 different excuses, so you'd have to move, which is the cheapest hotel in town. And then I go to the next one, and I use this app where I got discounts the more that I booked. And then they said, oh, no, you can't use that app anymore. You have to book through our website. And then I started booking through their website, and it was cheap at first, and then the rates get increased. And then they started saying, oh, well, the payment didn't go through for the whole thing, so we need you to give us cash for this amount that's over whatever was charged to your card. And I was like, no, you're pocketing that money. No way you're not. No way you're not. Never had problems in the beginning, but then I go to this other hotel, and the rates were cheaper than the previous hotel, and by the time I left there, I was paying $1,800 a month in rates. And they started charging me a deposit out of nowhere, when no one had ever charged me a deposit the entire time I had been staying in hotels. So, they move the goalposts on you, like that whole thing. You're never going to get anywhere enough to save enough money. Even I worked a job where I was making, was it $16 or $17 an hour with the call center? And I was getting bonuses too, and I still was not be able to save any money. The only thing extra that I had went to buying Colin some gifts for our meetings, and that was it. So yeah, Midlife Stockman was there at a very, very instrumental time to help me get through the hoops that I was having to jump through in order to come about having money to actually move into my own place. So Sean will always have a special place in my heart, and I hope that I get to meet him. I would totally fangirl out, but anyway, that explains. I wasn't trying to diss on all these lawn care guys. What I did was I unsubscribed. I no longer watch Spencer SU Mowing. I no longer watch Lawn Care Juggernaut or The Boring Channel or his dad, Cabin on the Hill. If something frustrates me with that now, I gave him long enough. I had commented on a couple of Spencer's videos. Kevin, I can't with the excuses. I can't with you trying to take credit for other people's work. I just had to unsubscribe. I'm not going to sync up with it anymore. Simple as that. That's all you have to do. And that's all anybody has to do when they don't like what you're doing. But there's always going to be people that hate on you, especially if you have an anointing on your life, especially if you shine your light bright, especially if you have turned your life around and you are no longer in the place where they wanted you to be, to where they could have you in low vibrations, to have you hating on yourself so they didn't have to work so hard to get you in those low vibrations. You were doing it to yourself, and all they were doing was just occasionally, just knocking it a little bit, not lifting you up when you got yourself down. They weren't having to do a lot. So, when you really start to put in the work, when you really start to do the shadow work, when you try to change your life for the better, when you are expected to be crashing out like every 2 seconds, like how you did when you were your low vibrational self and hadn't done any healing work or cut anybody that was negative out of your life. Like, that's what they wanted you to be. That's where they wanted you to stay. So when you're not doing that, they're like, what? Hold on. This is not exactly what we planned, but now we have to strategize to go overboard with trying to get them to react with smear campaigns, trying to paint a picture of them that is not them. It's not even who they used to be. It's something that they think is a slam dunk as far as getting other people to hate you and side with them and play the victim and stuff like that. So, when they have to start working for it, working to get you out of those high vibrations, it's going to increase. The hating on you is going to increase. You're either going to inspire or you're going to irritate them. There's no in between. As I've always said, on this particular journey, this leg of the marathon, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, slow and steady, wins the race. And I'm locked in. I'm very dedicated. It's who I am. It's my lifestyle. I don't have to wear a mask at all anymore. Where I did feel like I needed to be a people pleaser, that I was a doormat. I did go above and beyond to fill other people's cups, even when they were doing nothing to fill mine at all whatsoever. They wanted me depleted. They want you depleted. You have to watch who you surround yourself with, because people that I thought would be friends of mine forever, people that I would answer their drunken phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, up and deleted me from their Facebook. And I was like, you know what? I'm not really upset about that at first. Before I had really done any healing, I was like, the only thing I'm upset about is that I didn't do it first. They beat me to the punch. And so when I saw I was unfriended, I was like, let me just block them. Let me just get rid of that being a factor altogether. It's a non-factor now. I'm not synced up with it. I never will be. It's just, when you're in the low vibrations with them, you'll take whatever you can get. You're like, oh, I love this person. They were there for so many years, or we did this and this and this together. You'll think that means more than your self-worth, because you haven't learned to love yourself at a level where it's like reigning supreme. And I'm not to say to put that before God. Obviously, God is my foundation. But I have to love myself before I love anything else. And I would never, ever turn my back on that ever, ever again. I saw it was my detriment for way too long. And I'm not going to give my power away by crapping all over myself to hurt me or to make others that don't care for me happy, like, ever again. So, but when I find the aggressiveness, honestly, in this stage of the game, it really only encourages me, because it's just like how thieves will not break into empty houses. If people are not only, they're not having to just knock what you're already doing to yourself to, keep that momentum going, keep that speed going with that lower vibrational negative energy mode that you're in. You start to rise up, and then they have to, we have to strategize in order to put bad things in her soup, to hopefully they will internalize that. Hopefully they will be confused by it and say, oh, well, I've told myself that I'm this, and I've worked so hard on myself to be that, but maybe they're right, maybe I'm never going to be anything, or maybe nobody's ever going to love me, or maybe I do look ridiculous and they're all going to laugh at you. Like, maybe they can get you to start thinking that if they start trying to throw low blows at you, or like intentionally let gossip and slander get back to you. In my case, it was court. It was right in front of a judge. Like, there was no like mystery or romanticism about it. It was just like, bam, complaints to government agencies. I'm gonna perjure myself. I'm gonna do whatever I can do to beat you down as low as I possibly think that you need to go. Still doesn't mean that you need to be there. Stoicism helps. Blocking it out. Headphones help. blocking people on social media, not even getting on social media. That's a great idea. Just get rid of all your socials altogether. I was at the gym today, and like I was so happy about the 3 miles, and I just felt like it's not like pride, but I do give myself credit for how far that I've come, because even with going out in nature, which I love to connect to nature, I love to be distracted, but I was so happy about doing the 3 miles, because out of the whole like past couple of months where I haven't gone to the gym after getting that membership, loving to be outside more, loving to swing on the swing set and transmuting that energy that's sent to me out in nature, out on the playground by doing inner child work, things like that. Like the culmination of that was just like sweet. So, but I didn't get as much exercise doing that. I was distracted either by people, someone trying to chat me up, or people pulling in with really aggressive energy, or aggressive dogs, or whatever, like stares, demeaning stares, judgmental stares, like whatever that was around me. Even things on the road, like I can tune it out, but I wasn't getting as much exercise as I did tonight. And I mean, the endorphins are raging. Like getting the serotonin, like all this stuff. I'm so like happy that I pushed myself to do that, and I didn't have to sweat my butt off. I did sweat. Trust me, I did sweat, but it wasn't from the humidity. There was no bugs. Like I don't have to look around to anybody. I just, I don't ever slouch my shoulders anymore. It's shoulders back, chest out, head up. Like I am just listening to my music, listening to my videos in my own little world, not caring at all about what is going on around me. And that is what I want for all of you. It doesn't matter. Once you raise your vibrations, you're going to align with other beings, your soul tribe that has done the work on themselves, that recognize your worth because they recognize their own worth. Real recognizes real. It will gravitate towards you. You will not be alone forever. But like I said before, you're going to be so much happier with the you that you are now that it doesn't matter. There's nothing to disappoint you in yourself anymore. You are doing the absolute best that you ever have, and you're only competing with who you were yesterday. You're not caring about who's talking about you or who's doing this and how it's not as good as you want to be doing, or they have all of this. It doesn't matter. You are on your own path. It doesn't matter when they may be plateauing with this vacation to Jamaica, with this house, with this car, with that job. They may be plateauing. God will pull you back because your trajectory is so much greater. You will shoot past them eventually. He gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And speaking of scripture, I'm still in Luke, but I was reading chapter 17 verse 20 about how the kingdom of God is within us. And that's what I want you to focus on. It's not about what is outside of us at all. Actually resonating with man and the sins of the flesh and all of the ego, fear, all of those things that are around us, the conditioning and the programming that you're getting from the media and from others in your ear telling you, don't do this, don't do that, or you can't do this, or you'll never do that, or, crabs in a bucket trying to tell you, they love you, but they don't want you to do better than them. Sure, do great, but not better than me. So, like my uncle was like, deep pockets, but then any other, if you're having a hard time, he's like, I don't have any money. Oh, well, I thought you were deep pockets. Like they want to build themselves up and put themselves on a pedestal with whatever they can to make you think that you'll never get to where they are, or you'll never achieve this goal or that goal, or you don't need to go after your dreams, even though they went after and attained some of theirs, but not for you. That's not for you, because that's going to hurt their ego, which they're still very much in and haven't done any shadow work at all, because it's hard. It's hard. So let them hate. Put your blinders on. Let them hate. Don't pay attention to anything outside of your focus, which is what you want to grow. Pay attention to what you want to grow. Create your vision board, do your journaling, do your affirmations, work on your self-talk. Build others up that you see their potential in, but don't ever pour into their cup if they can't grasp their potential and start putting one foot in front of the other to work on it, because it's just going to be an energy vampire. It's just going to drain you without even trying. Even if they're not trying to do anything malicious, they're going to be an Eeyore, they're going to be a wet blanket. You want to inspire them, you want to encourage them and be a cheerleader, but eventually they're going to have to start cheering themselves on and start putting energy behind the goals that they set for themselves and focus on what they want to grow. Like, you can't do it all for them. You can only do that for yourself. And I'm not talking about your children, obviously, especially minors. They need you to be whole and healthy and balanced and stable and grounded and your cup filled and overflowing. And that's what you fill their cups with, the overflow, because you have tuned out all of the noise. You have tuned out all of the hate. You have tuned out any manipulators. You've tuned out any past abuse, because you have worked so hard to pick it apart and deal with it, to show grace to yourself and others, to forgive and move on, to let it go. Let it go, because it doesn't matter. Not in the grand scheme of things. It was just basically a blip on the radar, considering where you can go and where you are going and what you can achieve once you cut all of the dead weight. The dead weight meaning the ones that aren't going to try, the ones that are just going to hate. How are you going to hate from outside of the club? You can't even get in. So let them hate from outside of the club. They're not in your club. Get on my level. Yeah, get on my level. Like, they have to get on your level, not to compete, but to be part of your life. They have to be on their own trajectory, going up, onward and upward, for it to matter. And those people that want the best for themselves will want the best for you. And none of the other stuff is any of your business. Not at all any of your business. Like, this aggression that's all around me right now. Like, I know they're big mad. A lot of people are mad because I'm not curled up in a corner crying. I'm not telling myself that I'm nothing and I'm worthless, and that without my children that I have no self-worth, no self-confidence, that everything's out in the public, that they've spread rumors that I'm a drug addict, that I'm a prostitute, a sex worker. What else did I hear about myself? I'm always like, really? Tell me more, because I'm so excited. I'm so invested at this point at this soap opera that they've created that is so much more salacious than I would ever want to be, much less put energy behind actually being. Even in my shadow self, I might not have had the self-worth where I married two people that beat me down so bad that I thought that I needed to chase their attention and love and admiration and prove myself. If they could only just see, or any mistakes or things that they did to me was because they were hurt and they need to heal. And I kept throwing myself back into that, or cakes or employers that I had, like, I'm going to show them how hard I can work, when they really just took advantage of it. They saw it all along. They just never wanted to pay me my worth. And they never wanted to, give me any pat on the back for that. I would never get the title until, I just threw in the towel and left after so many years. It's exhausting. You just want to do that for yourself. I think the ultimate goal is to leave all of these quote unquote matrix, these these negative construct, fear-based jobs behind. I've heard so many times in other videos that in the future it will be a barter system. And I would love that, because everybody has skills, everybody has gifts. If we could all just pitch in and help each other out with the things, our trades, our skills, things that we could offer to each other that they will ultimately need, but maybe not have that gift or be stronger at this skill set than what you are. And so everybody has things that they could offer. I don't think that we should be charging for energy electricity, water, like those things, we shouldn't have to charge each other, but they're capitalizing on that to create the haves and the have-nots and not care about homelessness, even though there's so much money in the world to completely make that obsolete, but they don't want to. People come up with their own um, solutions to the housing crisis with tiny homes or van life or living in RVs, things like that. And then they come along and say, oh well, you are abusing our tax system, you're not paying taxes, so we want to ban you, or we're not going to allow tiny homes in our community, this and that. They come up with any reason to turn it down and to like look down upon these people that are finding their own affordable solutions to housing so that they don't end up homeless. And if you are homeless, like nobody's going to help you. Like I mean, there are people that help. There are a lot of charities out there that help. So I'll take that back. But what I mean is, once you're homeless, it's so hard to get help because the ones that offer charity are few and far between. I remember calling so many shelters and them being like, we're full, or we'll only accept people that are in our program to help them, or we only serve people that are like 5 miles from where we are, and you were right outside. I was always right outside. No matter where I had moved in Chattanooga, I was always right outside. So this Samaritan Center would not ever help me, even though I've heard that they make super good money off of their thrift store and that it's one of the best in the town. But yeah, it would never help me. People won't help with rental assistance. I saw on one of Midlast Stockman's old videos that I rewatched the other day how this lady pulled up to him and asked if he was buying the house or renting it out because she helped families in transition find homes, and that they helped them with paying on hotel stays. That there was a lot of mothers and children or just families that were in hotels because they couldn't find a place to stay, and they helped them pay for their rooms. And I was like, that is incredible. This is in Michigan. I could never find anybody to help me with assistance and housing when I was in a hotel, unless you have a lease in your name, unless you have utilities that they can help you pay for in your name. They act like you don't exist. There's no way. And then of course I had so many people coming after me saying, well, if you let us do an intake, like if you're a substance abuse or if you have mental issues, then we'll be glad to help you, sending me all of these apartment listings. And I was like, no, I'm not going down that avenue because that's bait. First of all, I'm not going to sign up for anything that I do not qualify for, that you want me to qualify for. And I'm not going to take away resources from other people that do actually need help because of those reasons. But yeah, so many people will not help the homeless, but they'll try to throw everything at the ones that try to come up with their genius solutions. Really, I'm addicted to van life videos, tiny homes. I think it is super, super efficient. But I did see some people that pay, like, sidebar, like $250,000 for a tiny home, and I'm like, you could just be in, you could be in a small home that would be paid off. Like, I just don't get that. I don't get the luxury tiny home thing. Not that to say that your house can't be nice, but like chandeliers and marble and heated floors and tiny, like I don't get all that. That's something that's outside of my my focus for the solution part of it. But anyway, yeah, it's so hard to get help because people just hate when you try to shine your light and when you try to put your heads together, when you try to form a community that supports each other for these new ways of making it, then there's going to be someone that tries to come and throw salt on you, that tries to tear it down and find a reason that you're not going to be able to do that, that's not going to be a solution, that you are not as good as them because you can't afford a 3-bedroom home, or this is your way of getting out of poverty. People that have lived in their cars for like 3 years to completely pay off their debt, but they're getting run off from here and there. Even if it doesn't say no overnight parking, still, like, you're trash to those people. Like, so you can't internalize everything that people are going to throw out there as far as hate, because for when they might be struggling, like, think about the Great Depression when people were struggling so bad. There were so many like wealthy people in communities that wanted to keep up appearances, like they weren't being affected by the depression when everybody was being affected by the depression, but they would hold on to their houses and their nice places to live. But if anybody ever went inside, you would see that they had to sell all of their furniture and they didn't have anything inside of it. They just wanted to keep the houses. They wanted to keep that facade up so that everybody would think that everything's perfect in there, that we're great. We're not struggling at all. It's just you guys. We still have our house. Like, there was nothing inside the house. Or they were having to, break up the furniture to put in the fire to keep themselves warm. Like, so when people hate on you, you never know what's going on in their own life. And it's a them problem. It's something that they're struggling with. It has nothing to do with you. That's how they feel about themselves. But it makes them feel better to project that onto other people and put that negative energy that they can't work out within themselves onto someone else, because they want to bring you down with them. Misery loves company. So as long as they're able to throw their negativity and their low self-esteem and how they could be shining their light and doing good for themselves and other people's, if they would just work hard on healing their traumas and their insecurities, that would be worth it in the long run, or capitalizing on their own God-given gifts without trying to hate on others for capitalizing on theirs and promoting their own lives, because God blesses us all. You just have to be able to recognize it, focus on it, put energy behind it, and everything else will fall into place. Be kind. Be a good person. Be down for giving gratitude from all of the blessings, from all of the gifts, by not fumbling them and just self-sabotaging and then hating on other people to try to keep them down because you don't want to do the work to use all of those things that God gave you to promote yourself forward and not care about what anybody else is doing. So the fact that they're caring so much about what you were doing lets you know everything about them. It has nothing to do with you. That is how they feel about themselves. That is what's going on in their own lives, behind their pearly gates, their white picket fences. That's what's going on in there. It's empty. Just like the Great Depression, that house, that front, that car, that job, all of that is just hiding how horribly ugly or empty it is on the inside of what they try to say, look what I got. It's all for appearances. It's all ego. It has nothing to do with you. So there's no reason that you should give it any kind of energy, any kind of thought. Don't let it internalize in you, because it has nothing to do with you. That's all about them. And the more that it amps up, the more that they have to rapid fire and try harder and harder and harder, because everything that they've thrown at you so far hasn't worked. You just keep going up and going up and going up, and your ascension is undeniable. The harder and harder that they try, the more and more that they do, that is the closer that you are getting to the next level. Because why would they? Why else would they? They would just live their own lives. They would just do what they've always done. The devil doesn't have to try if he's already got you. He only has to try hard because he sees what's coming for you that you don't have yet, that you don't see yet. So don't give up. Keep going, especially the harder that it gets, because you're almost there. You're almost there. I love you. God loves you. You're never alone. Don't let any of these people bother you, not for a second, because it's about them, not you.